Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us rid ourselves of every burden and sin that clings to us. Yeah, they do. And persevere in running the race that lies before us, while keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus, the leader and perfecter of our faith. For the sake of the joy that lay before him, he endured the cross, despising its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand, or at the right of the throne of God. Consider how he endured such opposition from sinners, in order that you may not grow weary and lose heart. I see. I was wondering why I circled that. But consider how he endured such opposition from sinners, in order that you may not grow weary and lose heart. Meaning, for me, what is so that when I am receiving opposition, when I am going through these things, um, this is a reason to not lose heart. If he did this, and like, I don't know. I was just like wondering why I put it there. Anyway, in your struggle against sin, you have not yet resisted to the point of shedding blood. You have you have also forgotten the exhortation addressed to you as sons. My son, do not disdain the discipline of the Lord, or lose heart when reproved by him. For whom the Lord loves, he disciplines. He scourges every son he acknowledges. Endure your trials as discipline. God treats you as sons. For what son is there whom his father does not discipline? If you are without discipline, in which all have shared, you are not sons but bastards. That's interesting. I do keep seeing a common theme of like that all who follow Jesus will receive difficulty, trials, struggles, and so I don't know. It's just interesting. Besides this, we have had our earthly fathers to discipline us, and we respected them. Should we not then submit all the more to the Father of spirits and live? They disciplined us for a short time, as seemed right to them, but he does so for our benefit, in order that we may share his holiness. At the time, all discipline seems a cause not for joy but for pain, yet later it brings peaceful fruit of righteousness in those who are trained by it. So strengthen your drooping hands and your weak knees. Make straight paths for your feet, that what is lame may not be dislocated but healed. That's interesting. Strive for peace with everyone, and for that holiness, which without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one be deprived of the grace of God, so that no bitter roots spring up and cause trouble, through which many may become defiled. That no one be like an immoral or profane person like Esau, who sold his birthright for a single meal. I do think, that no one be deprived of the grace of God, like understanding the role of grace, because without grace, the bitter roots spring up like crazy. I think, I think of the culture of people who have a tendency to just push too hard and have I guess it's idealism that kind of sets a goal that most people can't reach. And without grace, and you just kind of, well, I guess that's, you kind of like leave people to fail and struggle, and then it creates bitterness. For you know that later, when he wanted to inherit his father's blessing, he was rejected, because he found no opportunity to change his mind, even though he sought the blessing with tears. You have not wait, you have not approached that which can be touched, and a blazing fire, and gloomy darkness, and storm, and trumpet blast, and a voice speaking words such that those who heard begged that no message be further addressed to them, for they could not bear to hear the command. If even an animal touches the mountain, it shall be stoned. Indeed, so fearful was the spectacle that Moses said, I am terrified and trembling. No, you have approached Mount Zion and the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and countless angels in festal gatherings, and the assembly of the firstborn enrolled in heaven, and God, the judge of all, and the spirits of the just made perfect, and Jesus, the mediator of a new covenant, and the sprinkled blood that speaks more eloquently than that of Abel. See that you do not reject the one who speaks. This is really amazing because I mean, if you think about it, I think this is where sometimes this is wonderful and amazing, but we forget that because of the grace and because of the privilege we have due to the sacrifice of Jesus, that it's still this terrifying voice. It's still the same God, you know, and it's sometimes I think it makes us take things for granted. But see that you do not reject the one who speaks. For if they did not escape when they refused the one who warned them on earth, how much more in our case if we turn away from the one who warns from heaven? His voice shook the earth at that time, but now he has promised, I will once more shake not only earth but heaven. That phrase, once more, points to the removal of shaken, created things so that what is unshaken may remain. Therefore, we who are receiving the unshakable kingdom should have gratitude, with which we should offer worship pleasing to God in reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. Yeah, I think to me, I've always thought of with the shakeable things and unshakable things, it makes me think of the old hymn, the on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. I think of unshakable things being like the rock, you know, and the shakeable things are the sinking sand. They don't hold up. Um, they're dangerous to put your weight on, you know, and to lean on. And so many earthly things we put weight on because they make us feel better, or we feel in control. And so I'm gonna put my weight on. You know, you start leaning on health and diet and all of these things like that, or on relationships with people, or on, you know, and those things get shaken and they start to sink and they can't hold you up. And I think that when they do get shaken and they start to sink, it's those urgings of the Lord to get our balance, get our self fixed back on the rock, and to remind us that what we're leaning on is shakable, you know. I don't know.